Aloha everybody and welcome to the multiplayer video of Sonic and the Black Knight. And what the multiplayer is in Sonic and the Black Knight is essentially a battle mode. They put all of the characters into different arenas, and there are different rules you can choose, whether it's ring battles, goblet battles, evasion battles, battle phantom mode, but it all boils down to you and 2 to 4 characters go into an arena, and you all have swords, because this is Sonic and the Black Knight, and you basically try to kill each other, or at least get more points than the other people. And there are a whole bunch of characters that you have to unlock through playing adventure mode. You start off with like 4 characters when you boot up the game, but there are 8 unlockable characters, 3 of which you're seeing right now. So, in the top left, we see Silver the Hedgehog, who is playing the role of Sir Galahad, and his psychokinesis is just as crazy as ever. In the bottom left right now, we see Jet the Hawk, who is taking the form of Sir Lamorak. Those 2 characters were not in adventure mode at all. You know, Silver and Jet, they're not in any extra missions, there are no Knights of the Round Table fights with them, so Silver and Jet are in the game, and they do have a persona fitting of the Camelot setting. You know, Galahad and Lamorak. It's just, you only see these characters in multiplayer, and that's kind of interesting. But, in total, the roster goes like this. You have Sonic, you have Lancelot, Gawain, Percival, the Blacksmith, Amy Rose, not the Lady of the Lake, Amy Rose, she's in her red dress and everything, Galahad, Lamorak, Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze, who are basically exactly the same as Lancelot, Gawain, and Percival. The only difference is they're not wearing armor, you know? So we're looking at Shadow and Knuckles right now, and the only difference between Lancelot, Gawain, and Knuckles Shadow is that they have armor on. That's pretty much it. So if you want to play the game as Shadow without his armor, they are playable in that way. And the last unlockable character is the Black Knight himself, King Arthur, who is very slow. He doesn't have a jump button, but he has a lot of reach, a lot of power, and his Soul Surge ability is kind of crazy. Some of the characters are definitely a higher tier than others. You know, for instance, the Blacksmith, Tails, he doesn't have a sword. Instead, the Blacksmith uses a slingshot, so he could be on like the other side of the arena. You shake the Wiimote, and he will shoot a slingshot far across it to hit the person across from him, you know? And how the battle mode works is this. Basically, right now we're in just a regular old battle, and you can see in the bottom, underneath all of the health bars and stuff, there are these sword symbols with a number next to them. That's how many kills you've gotten. Knuckles had 3 kills, so did player 2, but Knuckles has 8 rings more than the player 2 person does, and so Knuckles won that particular bout. You're basically looking to get the most kills, you're looking to have the most rings. Again, if you don't have rings when you get hit by an opponent, that's what kills you. Have no rings, get hit, you die. When you go into a match, you can set how many hearts you have, and your hearts is essentially your life counter. So, if you want to start the game with, like, 1 life, so it just instantaneously, like, this is where the final couple of hits are going to go, then you can do that. If you want it to go to 5 lives and make the fight that much longer, then you can do that as well. But, in general, all of these different modes are about you killing all of your opponents. There's only one that really involves any kind of teamwork aspect. And how did the psychokinesis pick up Amy there? She was clearly outside of the field, game. Bullshit. But I digress. The controls are pretty much exactly like the adventure mode, where, as in, you have to swing the Wiimote in order to attack somebody. There's no button for that. You have to push the Z button in order to block an attack. And blocking attacks is very useful. It also blocks soul surges and stuff, so you definitely want to do that. And the B button activates your Soul Surge kind of move, and every character has a different Soul Surge move. Sonic, he does what he does in adventure mode. He immediately homes in on someone that he's facing, and if you swing the Wiimote, you slash it over and over and over again. You can just, like, barrage them with Soul Surge moves. And if you're really quick about it, you can drain health really quickly with Sonic. Lancelot / Shadow, they do chaos control, so they warp to wherever the person closest is, and then you have to swing the Wiimote to shake it at them. But honestly, I think chaos control is a little bit too slow for this mode. You can easily see like Shadow warp in right in front of you, and then just walk away, and he'll always miss you. Like, he's just too slow, where like, you can see his attack coming, and then you just walk away, and he always misses, and it always feels like the worst kind of Soul Search in order to do. Plus, I think you can block Chaos Control as well. It's not like he stops time or anything, he just warps really quickly up to you, so, you know. Not a big fan of Chaos Control. Knuckles, Gawain, and Lamorak, because they all share the two swords kind of gameplay, they do what they did in Adventure Mode, where they will shoot the blade far across the room at the opponent they're facing. So it's actually a good projectile move. It's very good for catching people off guard while 2 others or 3 others are fighting each other. Again, this is a 4-player mode. I just had 2 friends over when I recorded this footage, but there can be a 4th person in here. But there's no way to have bots. There's no way to have computer bots. Like, you can't just have you and 3 computer bots in order to play the multiplayer by yourself. You have to have actual players, and if you only have 1 friend, then it's going to be a 2-player fight. There's no way to have, like, the 4th player be a bot or something, which I think is kind of odd. But, you know. And this is why I don't really get much practice with this mode. I don't really play this game often with my friends. You know, Sonic and the Secret Rings was a great multiplayer game. Honestly, what Sonic and the Secret Rings did was they took Mario Party and they essentially made that their multiplayer. You went into a whole bunch of mini-games, they briefly explained the rules, you know, whether you were in a canoe kayaking away from a waterfall, whether you were trying to collect gold from this sleeping genie thing that would crush you if he heard you, although it was broken as fuck, and that game does not work at all. But, you know, there were some mini-games in Sonic and the Secret Rings that were kind of enjoyable, kind of fun to go back to, and surprisingly, my friends wanted to play Sonic and the Secret Rings every now and then, because it was like the only party game I had for the Wii. So, you go into Sonic and the Black Knight, and when I heard this game was announced, when I heard it was another storybook game, I was so ready for the multiplayer to be, you know, Mario Party again. Just more mini-games, more antics. I was like, yeah, I'm totally for that. I love the multiplayer in Sonic and the Secret Rings. Bring it on. That's not this. This is just a battle mode, and there's really nothing to it. You have 12 playable characters, 7 maps, so the 7 maps, and they're all basically the same, you know, they're all square-shaped. The only thing that's different is the theme. It's like, either you're in Crystal Cave, Misty Lake, Castle Camelot, whatever. It doesn't really change any of the hazards or anything. There's no hazards. You're just in a square-shaped area. There's no way to move the camera or anything either. So, like, you're basically stuck facing one little view, and you have to keep track of where all of your characters are and stuff. The music in these stages, they all take it from Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. So, one level will be like Skydeck from Sonic Adventure. One place will be the Sonic Heroes multiplayer music. Stuff like that. So, again, I always loved Jun Senoue, Crush 40 kind of instrumentation. I love the way their guitar feels in Sonic levels. I love these tracks, what can I say? Again, I'm going through all these different modes, because there's so many different modes. Like, ring battles, you have to have the most rings by the end of it. The one we just did, there was a ghost that would constantly drain your rings, and that made it easier for you to get killed, and that's why you wanted to tag people in order to get the ghost away from you. And we didn't realize that when we were recording this gameplay. That's why I, as Knuckles, was sort of gliding all over the place, because I didn't want to run into the ghost person, because I assumed that whoever had the ghost at the end of the stage lost, but that's not the case. It just drains your rings. You still have to kill your opponents in order to make that mode work and stuff, but yeah. Here we have Trap Battle. Trap Battle puts all these obnoxious blocks everywhere, as well as these explosive blocks, and if you hit it and it blows up on someone, then it damages them. But either way, it's basically the same as every other battle mode we've seen, only there are blocks everywhere. Some blow up. So, nothing particularly unique about that. And again, if this wasn't Trap Battle, if this was a regular battle mode, those blocks wouldn't be there, and it would still be a square-shaped arena, just like all the other square-shaped arenas. So, would I recommend battle mode in Sonic and the Black Knight? Not particularly. Again, you can't play with bots, so it's always going to be you and how many friends you have. You only have one friend, it's just going to be you and a friend. And believe me, two-player fights in this game are so boring because, despite this being a Sonic the Hedgehog game, a lot of the characters are pretty slow. They don't really run around the square arena very fastly, especially when you're playing a character like King Arthur, who is so slow, and he doesn't even have a jump button. His jump button is replaced with a laugh button. You push A to laugh as King Arthur. So, they're not particularly fast on screen, and there's a weird kind of turning thing that this game has. Like, it's so awkward to turn and face a direction. You have to wait for your character to make a full body transition, and it's just kind of hard getting up close to somebody so you can swing their sword at them. And there's no real homing attack system. Again, characters can either glide. If you're the blacksmith, you can fly. Some characters can air dash. Some characters double jump. But there's no homing attack incorporated at all in these modes. So you basically have to rely on your Soul Surge move for as long as you have it. You can't use it forever to get any kind of giant range on opponents and stuff. It's okay, you know? But it's just kind of awkward and slow. It's really hard trying to have a one-on-one fight when everybody moves at such a snail's pace, and turning is just so awkward, and they could always block your attacks, and I just never found this, like, really fun. I never felt like that big edge factor where I felt like I was pulling off something cool, or I was showing off something cool, you know? And once you've done it, you know, you've basically, like, it doesn't matter what mode you play, you know, it doesn't matter if you play Trap Phantoms mode where you have to kill as many, more enemies than the other people do. It doesn't matter if you're getting more rings than the other person. It doesn't matter if there are stage hazards. It doesn't matter if this is a cooperative mission right now where we all have to team up to take out the giant enemy. It gets old fast. Once you've played it, you have no reason to come back to it ever again. So this feels like a tacked on, slapped on addition. There's really no need for this mode. It's not something you'll come back to. Whereas I would say, like, Sonic Adventure 2 multiplayer, yeah, I've come back to that every now and then. Sonic and the Secret Rings multiplayer, again, that was a party mode. My friends actually asked me to play that sometimes. So we would go back to Sonic and the Secret Rings multiplayer to have fun in the minigame hijinks. That has more replayability. This, you'll play it once, you'll realize it's not very fun, and then you'll just be like, I'm good. And I haven't even played every mode, because as you just saw, I unlocked Sudden Death just now. I've never played this enough to unlock all the different modes in the game, so getting Sudden Death was actually kind of a surprise for this recording, and I was like, oh, let's see what Sudden Death's all about. Basically, no rings, one life, get hit, you die. So, you know, first hit, you're out. And that's kind of fun, I guess. But, would not recommend it. The only thing worth noting about this mode is that you can play as Silver and Jet the Hawk, and they are Sir Galahad and Sir Lamorak. Sir Lamorak is actually the brother of Sir Percival, and Sir Galahad is actually the son of Sir Lancelot. So how about that? Silver is Shadow's son. Confirmed. People always made the theories around Sonic 06, but now, totally, Silver is totally Shadow's son. Canon! Anywho. This is multiplayer. Again, you might like it. I don't particularly. It gets old fast. You're never going to convince your friends to play it with you all the time, so yeah. We got one more bonus video, and then we're done with Sonic and the Black Knight, so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.